Hi, what's up, everyone, and welcome to Just Asking for a Friend. I am Susan Damon, your special guest host this evening, and the person that I am going to be interviewing actually needs no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway. This man has done 49. Now, this is the 50th episode. And while he has gone through the entire collector community, interviewing all of you, asking amazing questions about how you got into collecting, everything about collecting, the different types of things that you love. And now it's our turn to turn this camera around and ask him, please welcome the one and only, the ultimate Sith Lord, Thor Gunderson. Hi, Thor.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. How's it going?
It's going good. You know, getting ready for Turkey Day, like we were talking about before.
Absolutely.
We came on.
It's crazy. It is. Yeah, that's right. This is round 2 for everybody for Just Asking for a Friend. We had an amazing interview earlier this evening that you also hosted. That was episode 49. It had, oh my God, it had quite the lineup. So yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, during I watching it again, the Rodney part, I actually almost teared up a few times. You know what I mean? Because I know what he meant when when you say he went through a lot and everything, and I've known him, man, for 34 years. That's a lifetime.
That is a lifetime.
Yeah,
that's time. Yeah, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So while the questions start to come in, because by the way, you guys, this is all about you in the audience. What do you want to ask Thor about himself and his collection and everything about his nerddom? I'm super excited to be interviewing you because this is actually the first time I've gotten to interview you. You've interviewed me before, but I haven't gotten to interview you. That's amazing for me because Thor is one of my favorite people in the community. He's an absolute legend. He's been bringing people together in this amazing way with this series, Just Asking for a Friend. How did you come up with this initially, and where did it get started?
Well, actually, the producer came up with it. He came to me with the idea, and he was saying that you see, we can do this. I come up with the questions and everything. I go find the guests, and he will create the platform. And I agree with him. He says it a lot of times after some of these interviews that even I could have imagined some of the places that it's taken us. And a lot of people, it's more than nostalgia. And you hear a lot of times that folks, they're like, I really couldn't afford this stuff as a kid. And now that I'm making my own money, and you hear people actually get emotional sometimes when they get, and so it's been a great journey. And you find, I've even found out stuff about, Rodney. I didn't even know. I've known him for 34 years. And you find out a lot of things about folks. And I always love, but my favorite part is 2 things. One, how did your favorite guy, like Vader for mine, I like finding out how your favorite character became your favorite character. Yes. And then 2, how the actual discovering of the hobby, and the part that I find hilarious is when you find out how much this stuff is, and you're like, man, I ain't paying that much. Everybody goes to, I'm not paying that much. And then you do eventually, right?
You do it again and again.
Yeah, exactly. But the initial, how much they want for this stuff? And that's always the funny part to me. I always love that part.
Yeah, we have a great question right off the bat from Toy Quest 101. So Miguel says, you've interviewed a lot of people in the community, but if you had the chance to interview any celebrity for this show, he didn't specify for this show, but I'm adding for this show, who would it be and why?
Oh, easy, James Earl Jones.
Oh,
I mean, easy. It ain't even.
You really not know the answer to that
right?
question.
And I think you know why. And that would. I mean, I don't even know if I could make it through that interview. But yes, easily it'd be James Earl Jones. Second,
let's do it top 3 because
top 3.
Yeah, because you have such an extensive knowledge of the geek world that I feel just. Obviously, James Earl Jones is your top answer because Vader brought you into everything, which we'll get into in a little bit. But James Earl Jones, and then
I think 2 would probably be Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, interesting. Why Arnold?
Because after Star Wars and everything, Arnold was always my guy. Predator is in my top 5 movies. You know what I mean? And I'd love it. And Terminator. All the nostalgic movies. Because my thing with Arnold was, he always came out with stuff that was fresh, it was new, stuff you never seen before, like the Terminator, Predator, and the Running Man. and even Conan, when it first came out.
True.
3. I don't know if he would do it because I hear a lot of people say
all these people are gonna say yes to you. That's like the that's the thing
I've just heard
they're all saying yes.
I've just heard stuff about this guy. It'd probably be Harrison Ford.
He'll break your stuff.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And because he to me, he's like Arnold. He's like been like a major part of my childhood. Han Solo and of course Indiana Jones and he's just always been one of my favorites. You know what I mean? And so I would love.
I've met him.
Really?
Yeah, I met him when I was 22 years old, and I used to work in a party planning company. So I worked like as a party planner, an assistant to a party planner, and he was at a party that like in LA. He was the funniest guy ever. So hopefully you could bring that out in him. So you just have to get him telling these like really deadpan jokes, like lots of dad jokes. He's super, super nice. So I think he'd do it.
I used to watch, it was some cooking show or something. This guy his son is actually a chef and owns a restaurant. I don't know if he still does, but and I swear to God, like he spit him. He looked just like his father. I mean, just like I was like,
good for him.
Yeah, just like him.
Just saying from
I get it.
For my whole life.
I get it.
So here's another question for I guess both of us. What is your number one all-time favorite piece in your collection?
Well, I mean, I think I covered it on the first part. It's crazy because I've had a lot of heavy duty pieces. I had Ghost Rider XM, and then that ARH Medusa that was pretty high on the list. But I mean, recently I've got this DMD Darth Talon, and it is. I mean, it's high quality. It's a great piece. It's fantastic piece. There you go. You put it. You can see it right there. It is. It's
gorgeous.
Yeah, and it's a part. It's a 3. It's going to be 2 more pieces to go with it. And anybody who know anything about the Sith, it was her, Darth Nihil, and Darth Krayt. And Darth Krayt is going to be like on the throne, and then Darth Nihil is going to go. It's going to be it's 3 of them together. So I'm gonna have to get the other 2 because this piece is fantastic.
That's incredible.
So yeah.
And just really quickly, because this interview is not about me.
No, it's okay.
Mine is the XM Doctor Strange. I'm surprised I haven't answered that question on like a lot of other interviews. It's the XM Doctor Strange, the one where he's floating on his own.
Yeah, I know exactly the one you're talking about.
Yeah, no, that piece is.
You know what? Some of those early XM, like I like the a lot of people don't like it. I like the Black Widow.
Oh yeah,
the one where she's leaning on that gate. That's a nice piece. But yeah, I like this Doctor Strange too.
Yeah. So here's another one from Miguel. We all know you love Darth Vader. If you had a chance to have your dream Darth Vader statue made, what company would you want to make it and why?
Well, we were trying to make one on the Humble, but it would be the meditation chamber. And it's funny because if I had to pick a company, I'd probably have to say Prime One, maybe, because I've seen some of these alien pieces and everything. If not them, then XM, because it was funny when XM announced they were going to make a Vader. I just knew because I said they're gonna make the meditation chamber because that's like a very XM thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
But they made like the 3 stages of, they had Anakin as a child, and then Anakin when he turns, dark and everything. Then they had, they made the 3 pieces. So it would, if that's my ultimate dream piece. If somebody ever made quarter scale might be a little too, even if they made a 6 scale.
Yeah.
One, that's because that's the moment that I fell in love with Darth Vader.
Those like huge Prime One pieces that they do for the anime.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, for like The Witcher and the video games and stuff. Like they could kill it with a Vader in the chamber that way.
Yeah.
That would be incredible. So here's a question I feel like everybody in the audience might know this already because you answer this a lot, but like, what was it about Vader in the beginning? Like young Thor, what was it about Vader who brought him into this world?
So this is a little, not too lengthy, but a little lengthy story. So, when I was a kid, I've always been a big kid, a big guy anyway. And kids don't care. They tease you. They don't care. They always make. So I always got teased as a kid. I came home crying all the time. My mother said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "The kids don't like me and all this other kind of stuff." And she always told me, she said, "If you keep being you, people are gonna love you." I'm like, okay, you don't want to hear that. Ain't helping me when I'm going to school and people tease me. You know what I mean? So we go see The Empire Strikes Back, and I noticed right off the break with Vader, when he walked in the room, people like straightened up. Like, they moved out the way, and that's what I want people to do. Like when this guy walk in the room, that's what I want people to, when I walk in, I just want people to move out my way. And then the part came with the meditation chamber, and when the guy came and told Vader, he said, yeah, the rebels know. He said, "Oh yeah, Admiral Oz will mess. Don't worry, I'll take care of him." And he's the reason that I love smooth people, because I always thought he was like the smoothest cat in the world, besides for James Bond or somebody, the smoothest guy I've ever seen in my life. And he turns around, he tells the guy, he said, "Look," and he starts talking, he starts choking it. Now, at that age, I didn't really grasp the concept of the Force, but somehow I knew he was doing that. Like, and so he's talking to the other guy. He said, "Yeah, this dude messed up. If you mess up, you're gonna end up like him. So you in charge now. Good luck." And that was the moment I said, "I won't be like this guy." I said, "This is my guy right here." And since then, it's always been my guy. And even the part with Captain Nita, when he lost the Millennium Falcon, and everybody looked at each other and they said, "Yeah, Vader on the phone, he won't know what's happening." And they were like, everybody got quiet.
Yep.
And that was it. Said, so that's how he became my guy.
He's that guy. He commands the presence all the time. Yeah, exactly. I get that. So good question from Anthony. Hi. Has there ever been a piece that you were excited and or were certain fits into your collection, but when you got it, the feeling wasn't there or it didn't fit?
I would say the when I got the Iron Studios Kylo Ren, I had the sideshow one. And it's funny because the only reason I bought that piece is because the scene where he's talking to Vader's melted helmet. They had a little piece that came with it, and that's the only thing that I wanted. Like, because I already had the sideshow one. Mm-hmm. And so when I got it, and I kind of put them both together, and I was like, yeah, this don't really work. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, I got it. So I even, and the guy I sold it to, I was like, I'll sell it to you for less if I can keep it. He said, "No, you got to put that." Because I just wanted the Vader helmet part. Mm-hmm. And so later on, I ended up getting the Jacket of Dust one. So, but I would say that when the Iron Studios Kylo, it kind of just didn't work.
Nice. Yeah. It happens sometimes. Yeah. Legend has it there are these magical ribs that taste so good it is made by the hands of God. If you had the chance to play chef for 5 people, who would they be? That is a great question, Miguel. We were just talking about you smoking some brisket, so like I want to know the answer to this question too.
Let me see. Probably James Earl, make some ribs for him. 5 people. Wow.
That's like
probably
it's always really tough. I've been asked this question a lot, and it's very tough answer.
Yeah, probably my girl Morena Baccarin. That's like I got just like you got the thing for Harrison Ford. That's so I'm for her. 3 more people. Probably. Oh my God. Joe Namath, since I'm a Jets fan.
Okay.
Man, I can't come up with 2 more. Was that 3 people?
Yeah,
2
that was 3.
people.
You have 2 more people.
Oh no, I got an easy one. Oh, my man Dan Dynamic, he's never had them, and Franco Carlissimo. Those 2. Yeah, because they those 2. Yeah.
Everyone's still coming in and saying hi. So I feel like we're like getting into the interview, and people are still coming in and saying hi. So I'm like, hi, everyone. Yeah. So okay, I had other questions prepared for you, and now I'm just like in this interview, and I forgot all of them. So
it's okay.
So, what age did you start collecting, and what was the first thing you started collecting? Was it statues, or was it comic books? Was it baseball cards? Like what was it? Was it?
At 8, I did start collecting comic books because I had my mother had a good friend she went to high school with, and she had 3 sons, And the middle son, he had a big collection. This is back in the 80s,
Okay.
And I would always go over there and I would read comic books. And then next, I really love Spider-Man, The Amazing Friends. So, and also, all the Saturday morning cartoons. So the first comic book I actually bought was at 7-Eleven. I bought this G.I. Joe. Now I know it's G.I. Joe 27, and it had Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. They were fighting on like this New York subway train. And that was the first one I had. And then from there, I just collected more comic books. And I did actually used to collect rookie football cards back in like the 90s. But I kind of stopped with it. Yeah.
That's the other thing we have in common is we both love the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, I might love the draft more than I like the actual game.
Yes.
The draft is always fun. But because you're a Ravens fan, right?
I'm a Ravens fan, yeah.
Yeah. You and Cash Gemini is too. And I remember one time I stopped, I dropped somebody off at the airport because I take people to the airport for a living. And I went to BWI and I stopped out of M&T Bank Stadium, took a picture, and it was all lit up and everything. Yeah.
Was it lit up all purple?
It was purple and green, I think it was. Which is funny because Ray Lewis has always been one of my favorite players too. When I first saw him do that dance.
He's one of the reasons I liked the Ravens in the first place.
When I first saw that dance, I was like, no more good. I was no more good when I saw it.
I totally know what you're talking about.
Oh my God.
We had a couple of questions come in while we went off on football. As an only child, do you ever wish you had siblings?
Not really. I do. My father's side, I have half brothers and sisters, but I didn't meet them till I was an adult. But the thing I always loved about being an only child is you have to entertain yourself. Like you got to invent stuff, because you the only, so I think that's probably why I'm so creative, because you always got to come up with stuff on the fly to entertain yourself. Mm-hmm. So I've never, and plus I had my god brothers and my sisters and my cousins and everything. And so I've never, I didn't need anybody in the house. I was always okay.
You could retreat and go back.
Yeah.
I had siblings, so I couldn't ever go
away.
You
see what I'm talking about?
I shared a room, so there was no place for me to go. Anyway, is there a piece or license or custom that has yet to be made that you've been dying for someone to make, and what character is it and which scale? Ooh, great question, Anthony. This is such a good question.
Not anymore. It used to be. For the longest time, we did open mic. I had to sit there every week, and we had the whole X-Men crew, Tim and Barbara Ohami and Ryan, and every week they unboxing all these rogues and mystiques and all, they all getting hyped. All I wanted was a Darth Sidious. That's the only thing I wanted, And for the long, and they had the sideshow one, and I could never get it at a good price. I remember one time. This is funny. The sideshow, you might remember this. They had some kind of auction or something, and they were selling these pieces on eBay that they had in the vault somewhere or something.
Oh, and like a pallet or something.
Yeah. And I thought they were selling Darth Sidious, and it was dirt cheap. I said, okay. So I bid it, and then I was telling Jason, I said, man, they selling, and so try to keep it. Then next people start bidding on it. And I remember one day we were on the show. He said, "Did you get Sidious?" I said, "No," because it got ridiculous. But now, the custom people, man, I finally got Darth Sidious. So
that's good.
To this point, it ain't really, nobody.
Really? Nobody?
One is getting made that I always wanted a Visas Mar. That's Darth Nihilus' apprentice. Okay. And so that one's coming out. So I'm kind of hyped for that.
That's great.
Yeah, so this all the stuff that I want is now being made, beside for the meditation chamber.
That's something that I think that is great right now in collectibles is that a lot of obscure, smaller pieces or smaller characters or B-list or C-list or even D-list characters are getting made into these really fun collectibles. Exactly. So I think it's great. That's my new favorite thing about the collecting community is we've been loud enough about obscurity that they're somebody's going to get this, instead of them being oh, nobody's going to understand who that character is. They're no, somebody is. So that's great about it. As a Star Wars fan, if you got a call from Lucas asking to take a small part in a movie or show, what character would you want to be and how would you want the scene to play out?
Oh man, easy. I'd want to be the master Sith Lord. You know what I mean? And training. You know, even though they don't really train their apprentices, that's the weird thing about the Sith, because they don't want their apprentice to become more powerful than them.
Right.
But it would be something like that. You know what I mean? If not that, somebody like in one of these like one of these Jabba palaces, you know, doing this, you know what I mean, the scum and villainy. You're right, yeah, something like that. You know what I mean? So that'd be pretty cool. So
That's
something
awesome.
of that ilk.
How would you want your scene to play out though?
Oh, well, I mean, it'd be fun to feed somebody to the Rancor or force choke somebody or something like that, and you know, just something like that. You know, I never really thought about that.
Would you have? I know this is a dumb question because I know the answer, but would you have a lightsaber in your scene?
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know, maybe not. It's something like that. You might not need one, you know, because it wouldn't be a duel.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Sith do a lot with their hands, so they don't necessarily always need the lightsaber. They have force lightning.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about force lightning? Because some people are like very anti-force lightning.
Well, no, force lightning is cool. It's actually funny because this is something people don't know about Sidious. Sidious actually doesn't like lightsabers. His thing is, if you're the Sith Lord that you're supposed to be, you're so powerful you don't need a lightsaber. But he still carries it. His thing is he still carries it to show you how bad you are at dueling. So it's like, okay, you want to use this? I'll use this and show you that you really ain't nothing. So,
but whenever you see him duel, he only ever has it in the beginning, and then he kind of abandons it
exactly,
to do all of his other tricks, you know. So he knows he's better than his lightsaber.
Exactly, you know.
Yeah.
So that's his thing.
What do you think the hobby will look like in 20, 25 years?
That's a hard one because it's changed a lot even in 3 years. You know what I mean?
It's changed so much in like 10 years, like 5-10 years. Yeah, like.
But I mean, since from COVID to here, it's changed like a lot. I think the problem it's going to have is it's one, you got a lot of pieces being made of like the same characters. Like it's always going to be a lot of Batmans. Not that that's a problem. It's just like you might be getting oversaturated. You know, you got a lot of Hulks and there's a lot of Supermans and it's a lot, you know, but they are starting to make obscure characters and everything. But I just think it might, at some point, it might price itself out, and you might get to the point where very limited stuff gets made. But in 25 years, it actually wouldn't be too far-fetched to say that you might get to the point where people actually have printers in their house and they buy the download and they print the stuff up themselves.
See, that's because I was wondering if you would bring that into it because of how many people, because like the costuming industry is changing that way because of how many people can print their own armor, because you can get like, you know, right after the Ahsoka show aired, you had Sabine's armor available to be printed, and so many people were printing it that like it's like now you have a whole lot of Sabine cosplayers, which is awesome because like kicks ass. But like so are people going to be doing that with the even more obscure characters that we don't think about ever? A question for you, Brother Thor. Are you ready for Love and Thunder Star Wars? I believe this is Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie.
People don't, they talking about Taika Waititi about to have oh my God. I swear to the God above me, if he makes, because he already said people are not going to like it. No, I'm not ready for it. I swear to God, if he comes on here and does this outlandish mess, you know what I mean? It's just, don't do that.
It could be. See,
it could be
Ragnarok, because Ragnarok's awesome. It's just Love and Thunder kind of was too much. I don't know. I think it really depends. I think it depends on the tone and the direction they go with it. Because if they go into like the silly creature side of Star Wars, then that might be a really great little fun jaunt into something we haven't seen before. But if they try to do like what we've always seen in Star Wars, like a good versus evil, and like I don't know.
No, we'll see. I mean, but
I am here for that ride.
going in, I'm just kind of like, oh God, please. But we'll see. You know, I'll give it a chance.
So, Thor, you mentioned that you collected comic books growing up. Who were some of your favorite comic book characters?
Oh, well, Spider-Man going in was because that was Spider-Man is Amazing Friends, and then around like 93-ish, no, after that, like 90 when Spider Island came out, it kind of turned me off. Like that's when I started to outgrow it. And then for a few years, I actually stopped collecting comic books, and then I started working, and then I met this guy at my job, and he was a big time comic book collector. And again, this isn't why I call myself Thor, but he said, "Why don't you try reading this?" So I started reading Thor, and it was like volume 2 of Thor, and I think it was Andy Kubert was doing the artwork, and it was really beautiful.
Mhm.
And this particular book, it was Thor. It was fighting Gladiator. It went over like 2 books, and I was like, "Man, this is." And it was they were going after each other,
Mhm.
And so then I started reading Thor, and then eventually Odin died, and Thor became the king, and he didn't really do much. He just commanded people. I was like, "Yeah, this is kind of." Yeah, and then when they made Jane Foster Thor, like it just wasn't. I was like, yeah, I don't want to read this no more, because it wasn't. It wasn't. It just because it wasn't him. It ain't got nothing against her.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
if they made her own book or something,
you like Thor Odin's son,
right,
you
right, yeah,
but yeah, I get that. Everyone has their like purest character that they like that version of that character. Yeah, I totally get that.
But also, I mean, also, now it was funny because Rodney, he loved the Punisher, and for years, I mean, not too long, about 2 years, we always went back, and I'm like, dude, this is just a guy with a gun, you know what I mean? And eventually, I gave it a chance to start reading it, and I really started enjoying. In the '90s, the Punisher had like 4 books going, and some of those books, I think I've tried to tell Arc and everything. Some of those Punisher books from the '90s were really, really good. Really good stories, and it's almost like Batman's books because a lot of times you read his thoughts more than you read what he's saying, and it was really good. So the Punisher actually eventually became one of my favorite characters too.
That's amazing. Which specific comic book had the most significant impact on you? Anthony coming in with a good question.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Like a comic book / story arc, I think is what he's asking. He clarified.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, I didn't like it going in. I didn't like the idea. I didn't think, but the Spider-Verse in the books, I ain't talking about these movies, was really, really, really good. And it was funny because when they said that they were gonna make Doc Ock Spider-Man, I was like, that's stupid. But like he was a trip. Like, and it was funny because I remember when because Spider-Man and Black Cat always had this flirt thing going on. But when Doc Ock became Spider-Man, he said, "Woman, get out of it." He'd be cussing her out and everything. And next he got her arrested. And then so she was like plotting his death, like when she was in jail. And then so then next Peter Parker gets control of his body back, and she out here trying. He's like, "What are you doing?" He was like, "You got me arrested." It wasn't me. What do you mean it wasn't you? It was you. So I really did enjoy Spider-Verse. But I'm gonna tell you the moment that really blew me away was like when I read Death of Superman. And it was a part when Doomsday, I can't, if Jason correct, I can't remember who it was. I think it was the Blue Beetle. And Doomsday is like he had this guy's head in the car door and he's slamming. And that was the first time I actually felt pain. I'm like, oh my God. Like reading this book, I'm like, he's slamming this dude's head in the car door. And I'm like, geez, and because I read that early on. And no, I got a good one. Here's one that was a life changer for me because I was 11 years old when I read this book. When I read The Dark Knight Returns, that was like my bridge to adulthood because I was like, it was some stuff in there that made me sit up straight in my chair. Like, first of all, I was like, why is he fighting Superman? You know what I mean? And then and because there was a lot of adult themed stuff in there when he fought.
And you learned that Batman could take down the whole Justice League if he wanted to, and you're just kind of like, wow, so he might not be the good guy all the time. Like, you learned about gray areas.
That bingo. And then when he fought that the mutant leader and everything, and because first time he loses, then he comes back and I think it would have to be that was Dark Knight Returns. Yeah,
that's a great one. Thor, once you have all the Sith that you want, is there another franchise or one character that you would consider collecting?
I'd been thinking about going bounty hunters now that you can probably get. Now you got Mandos and they make, they got Boba, of course, and they've got a Django. So I've always wanted like a line of Mandalorians, and then now some of the custom people made like Bosk and all those kind of folks, and so I always thought that'd be pretty sick. So
awesome.
whenever I finish, which is pretty soon because I only got about 4 or 5 of them left to get. I'd probably have to move because I don't have any more space. But yeah, Mandalorians and like bounty hunter type of thing. Ain't no Jedi coming in here, So.
No,
Can't no Jedi.
Absolutely. So when did you move from collecting, comic books and football rookie cards and everything like that to some of the higher end stuff? Like when did that transition happen for you?
Well, I remember working. I had always like going to the comic book shop. You always saw like the Bowens and everything. And again, I couldn't get over how much they cost. You know what I mean? I was like, wow, those are cool. And so I would always like save them on eBay. Like I'd get to work early in the morning because I started like 4 o'clock in the morning. But I get there like early because they had like free parking. So you get there to try to get the free. Anyway, it's a long story. So I'd sit in the computer room and I would save a lot of stuff on my on my wish list or whatever.
Yeah.
And then finally, my wife at the time, she had got me the Spinning Hammer Thor from Bowen, and for my birthday.
Great piece.
And then that was the beginning. Was that when I got that, and then I always seen Vader Mythos in like on eBay. I didn't have any idea about the scales and everything. Mm-hmm. So, and I said, once I got that Spinning Hammer, I said, I don't care how much that Vader, I'm getting it. But my plan was I'm gonna get that and then I'm good, But once I got it, and I was like, man, this thing is, and I said I gotta get some more. So that was like the bridge. The Vader Mythos was the bridge to
Vader
collecting
Mythos.
high. Yeah,
what a great piece to have be like the bridge. That is such a beautiful statue. If Darth Vader and Doom ran into each other in an alley, who would win in a fight?
Go ahead. I'm
gonna say, do you have an actual answer?
I mean, everybody know what I'm gonna say. I mean, I get all these Doom people, and Doom could do all
like Thor. We all know Batman would destroy Vader, but if Vader could win, how would he do it? With the Force. Batman doesn't have the Force. Batman's in person.
Yeah, I mean, I try telling the bad people that, but yeah, Doom. They swear up and down.
I am that person, and I still understand that.
yeah, I try to tell these people, man. But they swear up and down. Doom can whoop everybody, and every time the thing I get with all these. Let's just go to the statue for a second. Every time you see this dude, he's sipping on some wine or just sitting there in the throne and everything. I was like, man, please, And my thing would do if you're so nice, why you carry a pistol? Come on, Doom. Yeah, he mopped the floor with him. So
I feel like we're getting we're in the second half of the hour, so now we're getting all the funny questions. So, like, if you didn't know Archangel's real name, would you have guessed his name? What would you guess his name would be? For me, he looks like a Kevin. What you would think?
No, I actually thought his real name was Archangel. Like, no, yeah,
I just go with people's screen names. Like, for example, you always have to introduce yourself to me as your screen name because I mostly don't remember people's real names.
And that's what I did. Remember the first time I met you, I said, I'm Thor. You like, hey, what the?
Yeah, exactly. You did. That was very smart of you because I knew exactly what So this is a good segue into one of the questions I had for you. We met at New York Comic Con in like 20 something,
17, 18,
17, something like that.
Yeah.
So do you still do what is your convention situation look like nowadays, now that the world has changed? Do you still go to conventions? Do you still enjoy conventions? What's up with that?
I haven't gone to. The last one I went to was 2019, and then of course COVID came.
Yes.
So I've never been to San Diego Comic-Con. I've always wanted to go.
We got to get you out here.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to San Diego Comic-Con. I hear it's kind of crazy. It's
like New York, but then like more.
Right.
Because like New York Comic-Con is a very crazy show as well. I love New York Comic-Con. It has a really specific energy to it.
It's so many people.
Well, there's more in San Diego, but
really?
But it's also spread out over the whole district of that city. Like you can't really do that in New York. It has to stay in the convention center. Like, but yeah, you should come out for it. It is a whole different experience, and there's a lot of collectors that come to it. It's so great to see all the collectors.
But I did go to Awesome Con.
I'm telling the chat to convince you to come.
Come to Celebration. Oh yeah, I've never been to Star Wars Celebration. Never been to Star Wars Celebration. Never been.
You have never been to Star Wars Celebration?
No, it's all the years that I could go, they had it in like England or something, and I couldn't do that, you know. And then they've had it in Chicago, so that's
they've had it in Chicago. They've had it in
Orlando, yeah. So next time they kind of do it on this side of the world. Okay, I could probably make it. Yeah, but I've always wanted to go. It's something else.
Star Wars Celebration, just so you know, is my absolute favorite convention, and I never miss it. At least, like, so I will see you there. If it's on your side of the world, I will see you there. After all this time in the hobby, would you consider yourself an expert? I would consider him an expert. I feel like he's going to be humble about this, but I consider him an expert. Not in a snobby way, just in a factual way. Do you think you continue to learn in this hobby? That's a good question. Do you think you continue to learn?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you always keep learning. An expert, I mean, I can only speak maybe to my particular stuff here, you know, like you know, I can speak to Sith Lords and Star Wars stuff, but you know, when it comes to DC and you know, especially DC, I'm not a big DC guy. I like DC, you know, but I can't sit here and say, like, you know, call me crazy, like everybody loves Hush Superman. I'm just like, okay, it's all right, you know, but so it's all opinionated, you know, really. But when we talk about this, you know, I can only attribute to, oh yeah, well, you know, this ain't right on Vader's suit or something, and you know, so I can only attest to stuff that I really know a lot about.
Yeah, like Thor can tell you the difference between like a New Hope Vader and Empire Vader.
Right, exactly. Like, there you go. Yeah,
tell you all of that stuff. So I consider him an expert on his particular knowledge base. You know, and everybody has their own like, you know, little niche. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Why is there a phone ringing in this room?
That's
not, it's not my phone. That's why I'm
George Lucas calling. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was like, it's George Lucas calling, bringing him, patching him in. No, that was. I apologize for that. That was not my phone. It was a computer picking up a phone in a different part of the house. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
I'd love to know where Thor learned the ways of the smoker.
Oh, okay. So my uncle, he's the one who taught me how to cook, right? So he was a cook in the Navy. He was in the Korean War on a destroyer. And so when he came home, like when I started growing, he was retired. He used to work for like Giant Food. Like, I don't know if y'all got Giant where you are, like it's a grocery store in the Maryland, DC, Pennsylvania kind of area. And he'd been working there for like 30 years. And then so like he would grow his own vegetables and spices and herbs and all that kind of stuff. And I would always watch him, like, you know, because he'd always make Thanksgiving turkey and everything. He'd make the whole thing by himself. Nobody else help him. And so when I got about 8 years old, and when he want to learn, that's okay, you know. So he'd teach me how to cook. And so he would tell me, he's like, okay, just think about how things taste. He said, would this taste good with this? And I was like, okay, you know. So I always think about it first before I start doing it. And really, far as the smoking stuff goes, he never really taught me how to smoke things per se. Really, that was kind of self-taught. Like, I learned a lot of stuff watching YouTube. That's the God honest truth. And it's just really trial and error. You just keep doing it over and you find out what works the best. And that's really, I was kind of, on the smoking ribs and barbecue and stuff is really all self-taught, really. But he gave me like the basics of cooking to start on down that road, you know.
What's your favorite meal to make, since you like cooking, you know? Like, what's your go-to?
Like, to be honest, if I'm just home, I always like a good chili, you know, just to make it, you know. But I always enjoy making ribs. To me, it's especially when I'm by myself doing it, because it's really kind of therapeutic. Like, I got, I left it at Tim's house, but I got my chair. You sit outside, and it's just something about sitting out there and the smoke's rolling out of the smoker, and you just hear the breeze going, and you just sit there, and it's kind of therapeutic. So I really do enjoy making them. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
so,
I already know the answer to this, but if you had all the money in the world, would your collection be different?
Yeah, I would probably collect more stuff. You know what I mean? Because I really do like those the XM Transformers. I really do. For me, I don't know if people agree or not. That's like, to me, that's the best line going, like piece for piece. Of course there might be better pieces made, but I think as a line, I think to me that's the best line that's being made today. So like I would probably collect those if I could.
They're insanely beautiful.
They
So
are. They are.
I'm not a Transformers person at all, but
Yeah.
I love them. Thor, what was your AOL screen name? And you can't lie.
Oh, it was MRMN 420, which means Mr. Monday Night 420, obviously, but
do you mean Monday Night Raw or Monday Night Football?
Well, it's funny. I think, okay. So Rodney and I used to go to this live entertainment establishment on Monday nights.
All right. So
but
kind of Monday night.
But okay, but I got the name from Rob Van Dam. He called himself Mr. Monday Night. So that was my yeah. So it came from Monday Night Raw, but really what I meant was we went to this live entertainment establishment on Monday night. So
did they have a buffet? Because that's like
no, well, they had a buffet, but but it wasn't the kind of buffet we talking about.
If you had to give a speech detailing all the knowledge you have right now about the statue hobby, how long do you think that would be, and what would you say? Man, what would you say? So you're asking him to give the speech now?
It wouldn't be a long speech. It would just be, again, collect what you love.
That's exactly what I would say.
Collect what you love. You don't have to run out and get everything when it's brand. I mean, okay, maybe if it's a custom that's like 30 pieces, okay, you got pre-order that. But the way things are going now, because every time you turn around, you see, especially our man Delaney always posting these links saying, yeah, this is something that came out 3 months ago. They're selling it 30% off with free shipping. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, why are you pre-ordering it then? And so I would preach patience, because the piece that taught me patience was the XM Boba Fett, right? So I pre-ordered it, paid full price for it and everything, so you got to be around, it was around $1,100-$1,200 total shipping and everything. So then 1 year later, you got these distributor guys, and he was cleaning out his stock or whatever it was. He sold it for like $650 ship. And so there's like almost $500 less. So I was like, okay.
I was gonna say that's like 40% off.
Yeah. So I'm like, and that's when I learned, because I think the message is this stuff isn't going anywhere. You know what I mean? And everybody's so scared that stuff is going to escalate in price, especially nowadays when the edition sizes are so high and everything. At some point, you are going to find the piece that you want at the price that you're comfortable with.
Yes.
If you just wait, because a lot of stuff is on eBay now, and you check the BSTs and everything, but you got so many outlets that you can get this stuff, and a lot of stuff times they still got it in stock on the website. So it's like,
and there's so many even people in this community
right,
that you've connected that or just who know each other through the YouTube community or the Facebook community or any community. We have social media now who I see people who sell stuff in their Instagram stories.
Yeah.
And, you'll find the piece that you love, that you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. This is it's my 6 scales. My statues are in the other room, but it's disruptive to be in front of my statues. So I'm in front of my 6 scales. If you were dropped on a desert island, what 3 movies and 2 women would you bring there? That's a great question. Would you bring before being marooned there? So you're going to be marooned because before, and you can bring 3 movies and 2 women.
Okay. So obviously it'd be Empire, Predator, the 3rd movie, probably Amadeus. Yeah.
That's a good movie.
I tell people all the time they
Yeah.
don't want to watch it. That is the best movie I've ever seen. Like
You're
okay,
talking
it's
about the
like
one from like the 90s, right? Yeah.
no. This came out in 84. 84. Yeah.
The one with F. Murray Abraham?
F. Murray Abraham. Yeah, it
Okay,
came out
so
in
it
84.
is okay. I
Yeah.
just have the decades all wrong. So
Yeah, no,
yes,
it came out 84.
we're talking about the same movie.
Yeah, and so it would be, of course, my girlfriend. We call her Asajj Ventress because she looked just like Asajj Ventress, and Pride Morena Bakar.
Oh.
So that would be, yeah. She looked just like Asajj Ventress. I mean, just like
Um, doing all these interviews, did anyone surprise you with something interesting? That's a good question.
A lot of people did. Let me see. You find out. I'm trying to think of some. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people did surprise me. You find out that some stuff where people work and everything. Like, wow, I never knew that about you. And you find out that you're into the same things and everything. I'm trying to pinpoint somebody. And then I know interviewing Miguel. And we find out that me and him had a whole lot. I just met him, and far as because we both grew up, like I didn't grow up with my father or whatever, and we had like kind of the same issues, with our dads and everything. And it was funny because I just met him, and you come to find out that, you all kind of feel top 3 interview. Ha!
He just wants you to say his. One of the things that I think, because I haven't watched all of them because there's 50 of them now, but
Right.
but I've watched quite a few of them, at least for the people that I know in the community. And the thing that I find so interesting is you are able to pull out things that, like, because you think you watch people on YouTube, right? And you think you know a lot about them because of their collection or because of what they share on social media, or because they're redoing their room, or they're redoing their space, or any amount of things that you think that you know about them. But you have managed in this series to dive deeper into these people and see them almost in like a backwards way. And by backwards, I mean you're seeing them as a person first.
Right.
And then a collector, as opposed to we all see the collector side because that's what they present. So you have done something extraordinary with this series, and it's really wonderful. And thank you for everything you've done for the collector community in this series, because it's a beautiful thing what you're doing, and I hope you continue to do it for another 50 episodes at least.
So thank you so much. Let me think. Okay, top 3. To be honest, I really enjoyed the one that just aired was Corey Blunt. That one was really enjoyed because him and we grew up in the same area and everything, and he kind of went through, because he's a big Star Wars fan, and his story, I really enjoyed it. I would say another one, interviewing, it hasn't aired yet, but Gina B.
I love her. She and I actually have so much in common that, like, I never realized by getting to know her a little bit, like, back, in the day.
Hers was a great interview. I can't wait for hers to come out.
Oh, I can't wait to watch that too. That's going to be wonderful.
Of course, I enjoyed our interview together. Was great, and I really, the first one, actually, Bushy, was a really enjoyable one, because he talked about how he got into. It's always love hearing how your path to pop culture started and everything. So I'd probably say Corey,
origin stories. Everyone loves a good origin story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Gina B. Probably those 3. Yeah.
There were a bunch that were so good, and you find out things you don't know about people, and it makes you feel close to them. And Thor, you had a great way to bring them out. Yes, I totally agree with all of that. Yeah. Because even when you were interviewing me, I felt like you were asking questions I'd never been asked before in other interviews, and that was spectacular. So yeah, this is a great series. And for those of you who are new, if you're new and just have started, go back and watch more of this series, because it's a really great way to get to know the people in the collector community. Yeah. So getting to know you, Thor, besides besides Star Wars and comics and cooking and football, is there anything else that you are passionate about? Like, do you have another hobby that maybe we don't know about?
I do. Some people that are close to me, they know about this. I love watching Bigfoot videos.
Amazing.
I love watching Bigfoot videos. Like on YouTube, I like hearing the people, because like they got a few channels where the actual people who's supposed to have seen these things tell these stories, and to hear the similarity of like people who don't know each other. Two, they don't have anything to gain because they're not getting paid or anything, and then you hear a lot of the same things. You know, one, these things got a smell, and you know, you just hear
they
a
have
lot
a
of
call too, don't they?
They got a call.
I've seen a couple Bigfoot videos.
Yeah.
Talked about my niece. My niece is very into Bigfoot videos. So.
I love Bigfoot videos. I love all that kind of mythological creature stuff. You know what I mean? But it's mostly big. Like when you get into Dog Man, and I don't care about none of that.
What about Mothman?
Mothman is cool. I mean, I don't watch too many videos on the Mothman, but but I've seen the movie, you know, with the Mothman prophecies or whatever, you know.
Yes.
But I love Bigfoot videos. That's one of my hobbies, and that's one of my
Would you ever
guilty pleasures.
Go on a Bigfoot hunt?
No. Because because you hear some stories, like you hear a couple, you know, some of them that like, you know, they just saw him and they split or whatever. But like you hear some of these stories, like this one guy I've been watching, he was like some kind of ex-special forces, and these things were like corralling him. It sounded like they were going to take it. I'm like, no, you know, if I happen to be driving and one crosses the road, like, okay, cool. I ain't going out in the woods to, you know what I mean, to look for these things. You know what I mean? So
I live near the Bigfoot, like the place where there's the most Bigfoot sightings on the West Coast
in California.
California, yes. I live.
That's in the world. They see the most Bigfoot sightings in the world in Northern California.
Okay, well, I live very close to that place, so if you're ever out this way, there's like a museum and stuff, like a Bigfoot museum out here. That's amazing. So, this is a great question. Of all the people you have met in the hobby, who is the most surprising friend you've made?
You know what? I don't think any have been surprising.
See, I feel like all of mine have been surprising. Like everybody has surprised me in some way. Like there are people that I never would have met. And then on one side, and then on the complete other side are people that I probably should have met 1,000 times over because of all the different ways we like the way our lives have been like parallel to each other.
I probably had to say this. I say one. It would probably have to be Ohami, because when you hear, especially the first time I saw him, because I remember Barbara was saying he doesn't come on camera at all, like you know, before we even got to know him. And then the first time I saw him, they were on this live, and something had happened. He came and kind of slammed this chair, and he was arguing with some guy or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, you know. And then next, you know, he started coming on the show, and I was like, wait a minute, this is the same guy that was, you know. So, and then we became good friends, you know what I mean. So I would probably have to say Ohami. That would be the most surprising, because first of all, I never thought he would come, because she was saying he never comes on anything. And then next, you know, he's on the show every week. So
that's great. No, I love that. Yeah. And then the other thing I think is surprising is how many people that I've met from around the globe. Like
that too.
I have friends all over the globe now because of this hobby. And that's fantastic. Yeah. Apparently Miguel is asking if you have a secret talent.
Not really, besides cooking, not really. I mean, I can I like singing. I you know, a lot of time when I'm alone, I just do a lot of singing to myself, and whatever just hits, you know. Amazing. So that's about it. Singing probably.
This right here. That's why I asked. Thor is such a humble, open human that he approaches people with such understanding of what they could be that he often isn't shocked. He doesn't judge, and he's so welcoming. That's exactly how I felt when I met you as well. Because like you knew exactly how to like come up to me and say hi and like make yourself known without being like, you knew I was working, so you weren't being overwhelming. You were just being a sweet, sweet person who just wanted to like talk about the hobbies. Like, and so that's what's so appealing about you and why I'll hop on the show anytime you want me to. And
I appreciate it.
Anytime you want.
You know what's funny? I actually didn't want to come up and talk to you because I was like, well, she is working. I was like, I don't want to bother her. You know, listen, I'll go talk to her. I was like, okay, man. You know,
I'm so glad you did because it started up this friendship, which now like I'm very, very happy to be a part of. And now everyone's requesting that you sing.
Trying to think of something. Is there any requests?
Well, I mean, because it's Miguel requesting it, I think you should sing Michael Jackson.
Oh, okay. Every night she walks right in my dreams. Since I met her from the start, I'm so proud I am the only one who is special in her heart. The girl is mine. The doggone girl is mine. Mine.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how he's enthralled by a villain and he's a real life hero?
Well,
that.
To me, he was my hero. So.
That's fair. And Darth Vader does have a redemption arc. So that's, I think, one of the reasons why he's such an appealing character to so many people, because it's that he's a villain, but there is, you know, that redemption that comes in the end. You know,
you know what's funny? I remember I was in 5th grade and some guy came to talk. I can't remember what he went to talk to us. I just remember he used superheroes as some kind of segue to something else. And he's going around the room. He's like, "Who's your favorite superhero?" And some guys are Spider-Man and Batman. They got to me. I said, "Darth Vader." And everybody just stopped. Like, they look at each other. He said, "You know, Darth Vader's a villain." I said, "He's my hero." And everybody, he was like, "Oh, okay," and just kept going on.
This is a great question from Norman. Which collectors would you like to interview that haven't been on yet?
Anthony Kennedy. Let me see. Who else haven't I interviewed? I would we call it Cartel from Hell. I would like to interview Jim. You know, if ever had a chance. You know, so yeah, a few out there.
There's a few out there.
Yeah.
Okay, first job ever, worst job ever.
Oh my God. It's the first job I had was DC had this summer youth program thing, and it was mostly stuff working around the city, and I worked in this bookstore book room in the school, and I had to file all these, like it was during the summer, so it was all these textbooks, and I mean it's literally
boring.
Yeah, this thing was, I mean, the books went up to the ceiling. You had to climb up there and get the books. Sometimes the books fall out, you got to pick on. So it was, I guess that was the first and the worst. So it's both the same one.
All right. We're running out of time, but I really like this question. If you had a time machine, would you go back to a certain time in collecting or jump forward to see what's to come? Time machine only sticks to collecting, no changing history.
Is this collecting anything or just collecting statues?
I think just collecting in general. Like,
I would go back and I'd go get Hulk 181, Spider-Man 129. I'd go back and get we call Action Comics #1 and all that stuff, and then bring it back mint condition, have them slab. And then
and then you could complete your Sith collection and start on your
bingo.
Yep, there you go. There you go.
I would do that.
Comes full circle.
But I get one for you, Tim. I bring you back one.
I mean, the thing that I would actually, what's funny is I recently got the one of the comics I wanted most, and it's the first appearance of X-23. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Amazing. So yeah, Archangel coming in with some of the best questions we have in the show. So is there anything else that you would like to add to the end of your interview? Just like,
I would say thank you to all the people who have made this journey fun. The people that I've met, including you. I never would have dreamed it would have got to this kind of, I've never drawn it up like this. You know what I mean? Started out, Roddy and I just doing unboxings, and next, we did a live show, and then now I'm interviewing folks, and you met, like you say, met people all over the planet, which is always a grounding feeling, saying, people on almost every continent. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And this is lifetime. The friendships will outlast the pieces easily. You know what I mean? Because one day we're gonna get tired of this stuff. You can be 70 years old, you don't feel like dusting pieces and building setups and stuff, but you will still have your friends that you made,
Yes,
So,
but to close this out, what is the one piece you will keep when you're 70 years old? Like, if you only could, like, if you get tired of all the pieces, you sell all the rest of them out, but you're keeping one. Which one?
It probably had to be Vader.
Yes.
Even though Talon's my favorite, because that's my guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it would be Vader. Yeah.
Well, thank you to everyone in the chat for joining us today. And of course, thank you to Thor for bringing us on this amazing journey of 50 episodes of Just Asking for a Friend. So thank you, Thor, for all of this. And thank you, Norm, for producing these. These are just, like I said, such an amazing way of the community getting to know each other in a deeper way than just how we see each other on the surface level. So I look forward to another 50 episodes of them. Hopefully, I'll be back to ask you more questions at our 100th live episode.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. So keep this going. And thank you, Thor, so much for having us. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Have a great Sunday night, guys. Bye.
See y'all.
Bye.